Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of With the Waves. I'm your host, Gian Abdallah, and I'm here to speak about a couple things. But the main thing is just going to be about how recently I've been reminiscing on my days in college, and not necessarily college, but just my time with my friends. And I've been reminiscing on just being able to carelessly go through life and kind of enjoy it. And now I'm kind of in the sense of whoa, what am I doing? Where's my head out? And feeling a sense of regret if I don't do certain things in my life at a certain time. So let's get into it. So with the sense of regret, the thing I've been bringing up the most is, for example, I've been really anxious for no reason. And I believe my anxiety stems from the unknown of what the future is going to look like. And that's an obvious factor for many people's anxiety, because you just have so many outcomes in your head being oh my gosh, if I go this route, I may never be able to do this part of what I want to do with my life. Or if I do another aspect of my life, choose to just travel, I may be behind in the corporate world in which I am having to build up for what I went to school with. And I think I need to get into my thick fucking skull that just because you went to college for a certain thing doesn't mean you're going to end up doing it. For example, many people I know, especially the people I work with now, I'm how'd you get into this? How'd you do that? They're oh, I actually went to school for engineering, but I ended up working in hospitality. Or just crazy things. Obviously I know my life in 50 years is going to be so different, and I might have a different perspective on life as well, hopefully for the better. And so I'm just kind of sitting here expecting and anticipating what the next year is going to look like, because simply nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. I'm still in Chandler, which is fine. I'm working to make money, which is fine. I'm trying to tell myself that this is just a standstill, that this is just a build-up moment, it's getting me prepared for what's to come. Because I hope in the next couple months, I'm just I look back to now and I'm just wow, why were you even questioning how good your life is going to get? That's what I'm trying to be delusional about. Because when it comes to being in your 20s, you obviously have no idea what you're doing, and that's fine. For example, I'm just very eager to see where my life goes. With my recent weeks causing repetition, I'm just fully okay, what do I have to change to where my life changed? For example, I've been receiving a lot of inquiries for shoots and photo shoots and videos, and I've been really grateful. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm do I continue with this? Do I say yes to all these opportunities? And do I feel I'm lowballing myself with these prices? Yes. But at the end of the day, I don't have enough credibility to be yeah, you know what? This is what I'm going to charge. And also sometimes I feel $500 for 30 minutes is actually absurd, especially unless they're doing some crazy editing, that's absurd. But I digress. I'm not going to get into it. Every photographer has the right to charge whatever they believe is worth their money. And if they think they're worth good amounts, then so be it. And so I made an episode a couple weeks ago stating that, nothing changes if nothing changes. And I'm kind of sitting back being what was I even saying? Because I don't listen to the podcast. Obviously, I listened to it while I was editing. But I go back being why aren't you listening to yourself? I'm sitting here oh, why is my life not changing? Why is this? Why is that? Girl, you ain't even fucking taking your own advice. It pisses me off when I kind of sit there and I'm just getting so anxious and getting so frustrated when I genuinely have said this before and I tell people my advice all the time, yet I can't take my own advice. And that is something I need to work on. But it's easier said than done, obviously. Even the people I tell, they're oh yeah, obviously. And then they catch themselves repeating, and I have to catch myself repeating it to myself. And I think in my mind, I've just been overwhelmed with the endless amount of options that are in my, so if you know me, I have a hard time, which is so funny because I'm a visionary person, right? I learn better when it's shown to me instead of taught to me, or spoken to me. But when it comes to like imagining things, like especially when I read, I'll let you in. When I read a book, I can't like imagine. So when the movie comes out of a certain book, I'm like, I didn't think of it that way, because I can never imagine. Like when I tell you, it's like, oh, I met this guy, I have to like, and the like it describes the guy, and he's literally like a fucking like mannequin being like formatted in my head, if that makes sense. But so that's why I don't like reading books sometimes. But I've been getting my groove back. I've been enjoying some books. Reading one called One Italian Summer. It's actually really good, so I'm excited to finish it. And I have so much time at work at the end of my shift, so I read. So I've been getting it, done a lot, or I've been getting a lot of reading done. Anyways, so let me tell you what I'm envisioning. Basically, I catch myself kind of being like, I have no idea what I want to do. There's just so many options. I just feel like if I make the wrong decision, I'm going to regret it in the future. And that's my worst fear, is regret. Let me take you back. This is just silly, goofy, it's just too funny. But back when I was in middle school, I decided to quit gymnastics. If you've heard this story before in my previous podcast, but I was like saying how I could have been good. I regret saying that. First off, I'm like, whatever, I could have been good. Who knows? Or I could have been like, whatever. Anyways. And so to this day, I like regret even trying to persevere through that thought. Like, I wish I just continued to do gymnastics for like a year or two. And after that year or two, then I would have been so solidified in what I actually wanted to do with, like, when it comes to sports. And it's not that deep. It's not like gymnastics wasn't my end all be all. Like, my fucking feet hurt when I walk 2.5 miles, my morning walk. Like, my joints are hurting. So I don't know, maybe if I continued it and stuck to a regimen, like, obviously, like, maybe my joints wouldn't hurt. But maybe it's the walking shoes too. Maybe I don't have good enough shoes. But I don't think that was my end game. I don't think I was supposed to be a Simone Biles. Like, none of that. But it is just a regret being like, if I just continued, if I just like allowed my thoughts to freaking leave me and let myself focus on trying instead of simply comparing, I think I could have gone farther in that point in my life, which is fine. Yes, it sucks to live with that regret, and I never want to understand, or I never want to feel regret again in the sense of living my life. So I've been really trying to sit back and identify what I want to do. And it's okay. No one knows what they want to do. No grandma knows what they want to do. No 30-year-old knows what they want to do. Everyone is living a new life every 10 years, every day, every second. Like, life can change in an instant. And so let's go back. And so, mind you, when I'm getting to a certain point, I feel like I'm literally, there's like 5 paths in the road. So it's like I'm in a fork in the road, right? I think I'm becoming overwhelmed with how many aspects of life I can take that I'm just standing there. And I'm getting a little anxious, being like, if I chose this route, would it lead me down a path that I don't enjoy life? Do I go down this path? And that's a part of life, is to make mistakes, fail, figure out what you can and can't do. And so I need to get that into my thick skull as well. And remember that your life is meant to be lived, to be fail, to be literally experienced, first off. And so I've been just trying to kind of figure out, I just need to make a move. Like, I need to take that chess piece and I need to make a move. I don't care if it's the queen, if it's the pawn, if it's whatever. I just need to move that goddamn piece before I simply lose the game. So there's a lot of options I have in life, obviously. Like, I just need to make that jump. And so today I applied to teach abroad in Spain. Are there many pros? Yeah. Are there some cons? Yes. But my thought process is, I think I've been applying and pushing my creativity so much this past like 3 months, like since January. I guess it's only been 2 months, but I've been like literally applying daily, applying weekly, or applying literally so many jobs. And I've been doing so much with my photography and editing and podcast. And like, I've been very continuous with this, which I'm very proud of. And I feel like right now, especially, the job industry is just hella crazy, hella bad. And so I'm just trying to think to myself, I'm like, I'm over here being like struggling to literally just get a full-time job. And simply probably because that's not where my head at. And I will get to that in a second too, on how powerful your mind is. I've said this before, but I want to get back into it. And recently, it's kind of funny, once I applied to this like program, I'm always like, jobs will be there. Like, I can always come back and get a job. Like, I can always do this and do that. I've come to realize, like, I was applying to these big corporations, and yeah, that would be amazing to like kind of get into that and like kind of feed into the like, maybe work at like cool, like, you know, NBC, CBS, all these like cool things in like New York City. But then I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't think I'm meant for the hustle and bustle. I don't think so. Like, I'm obviously gonna have to work. I think for me is like, I know people are doing this, and I know that it can be done to be your own boss. So I think I need to get into the headspace where I think I need to just like fully dive into being a freelancer instead of just like, because I do focus on like my resume, like, and I look at all these job descriptions and stuff like that, and I'm well equipped for all these positions I'm applying for. Were there some that I applied for senior because I was like, fuck it, let's just apply? Yes, and those obviously I didn't get. But there's been entry level ones where I think I'm like beyond, you know, able to do what the job description says. And all these local like agencies and local like videography content like positions that I've been applying to, and yet nothing. I haven't heard back from many of the local opportunities. I have yet to hear. I've been getting a lot of declines, so at least, you know, rejection, redirection, turn that body upside. No, wait, never mind. Actually, the joke I was gonna say was not smart. It was never mind. And regardless, I just decided to apply. Do I lose $50 if I get a different opportunity within the fall? You know what though, actually, I figure out if I get the assignment by July and I know about another opportunity by like March. So honestly, like, it's a good leeway. Like, so if I don't get this, I might as well apply to this. I don't know. Recently, I've just been like in my head wondering if I would regret not teaching abroad or living abroad for a year. I made like a 30 under 30s list, and that has been on my list. I made this list like, I think a year ago. I think I made it a year and a half ago. But that's been on my list, is to live abroad for a year or some change. Like, literally it's my dream. And people ask me like, oh, if you want to move somewhere, where would you want to move? And I always crack the joke that I want to live in Europe, but I'm not joking. The other day, this girl told me, she was like, a joke is always half the truth or some shit like that. She's like, because I said something like, I think about their anniversary, or I don't know, something about within the restaurant. And I was like, just kidding. She's like, nope, a joke is half the truth. And I was like, pause. And I was like, true. Like, I was not joking, but at the same time I was like, joke, because like, who cares? And I thought to myself, I'm like, makes total sense, because whenever I just say like, I want to live in Europe, and I say JK, everyone's like, ha ha ha, and I'm like, I'm not kidding though. I'm not kidding. I want to be the hot aunt in Europe. And everyone's like, oh, let's go visit Auntie G. And I'm like, yes. How batty would that be? Imagine me getting a cafe, like at a cafe, and I'm drinking my espresso and I'm reading a book and maybe Spanish. My goal is to be like really fluent in like 2 languages, which is one, my native language. Well, no, sorry, hold on. English, which I am, but I tend to, maybe I should like get better at vocabulary. I will say that my vocabulary right now, I actually made a joke the other day, mind you. I was at a friend's birthday, and I make this joke being like, this girl goes, oh, I don't understand people who like annotate books, like I don't really understand it. Like, it was just something along those lines. And I said, yeah, the only annotations I make in a book is when I don't know what the word means. And I was not joking at all, like I was serious. And so the boyfriend laughed, like really, like just, you like let out a chuckle. And so I looked at him and I was like, what? And he was like, that was funny. Like, that's true though. Like, when you don't understand a word in a book, you like underline it. And I was like, sometimes people laugh at what I say when I'm not joking, and when I try to be funny, no one laughs at my jokes. And I just like, takes me for a twist for sure. And so kind of reiterating what I said I would come back to is how the mind is so powerful. I cannot stress this enough. Your perspective on life is how your life will perceive you. Let me tell you a little story. I got to a point in my week where I had so much anxiety and literally didn't get out of my room. I woke up pissy. Did it happen today? Yes. I just woke up moody as hell. It's not the time of the month anytime soon. I should be in my positive stage. So I'm like, what is going on? I'm just kind of like, the vibes are negative. So obviously I was having like a negative day. So, and it was funny because when I was at work, all you can do simply is like, I'm not going to be on my phone as like people are walking in, but like as I'm waiting for people to walk into this restaurant, I smile once these people come. I don't smile all the time, like as I'm staring into the abyss. And so my manager walks by and he goes, wow, what a happy mood you're in. And when men do that, bro, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed. Did I just cheese and go like, yep, happy-go-lucky, and he walked away? Yes. Mind you, this manager is like, I have to hit him back with some sarcasm because I really don't know how I can like, I don't know how much of sarcasm. Now I understand what my mama means by I hate sarcasm, because when I met this man, I was like, wow, I've never met anyone who does more sarcasm than me, and it's him, a grown man. Anyways, I digress. So the main point of this podcast is basically to emphasize how being able to sit and reminisce on the past is like a blessing, right? It's a blessing to be able to question where your life is going, to be able to have so many opportunities presented to you. And if you follow my Instagram and my podcast, you'll see that I'm always using those European clips, or my European trips, to make clips and cute little videos that I took this summer. And I just sit there imagining like I'm back in Europe with my backpack on my back, and I'm literally just with my best friends. And like I literally making this video, I'm so giddy, I'm cheesing. And then I just like post a video and I'm like walking around. I love Chandler. This is where my family is at. I do love Arizona. I do. It's a place in my home. I've actually come to like love Arizona. Like I would like come back and live here. Obviously I do just want to leave because I've been here for 23 years. Oh, hold on. Let me not age myself. 22, stop playing. And so basically I was just like, I was sitting there and I was like, I found myself super, super sad. I thought to myself, mind you, I hit this man. Okay. This guy is so funny. Okay. So this guy, we were having a conversation at work, and we're both talking about how we both went to Europe sometime, like after, like just whatever, sometime in our life. And I go, I don't even know what the point of living is anymore after I traveled to Europe. Like that was, I knew that was going to happen too. I knew if I traveled to Europe, I was literally going to be like, I don't know what the point of life is anymore. Like, how can you just go and travel to all these places and then come back and like succumb to the corporate America life that we live? 10 holidays? 10. That's all you get. And if you're tricky with it, you could get more if you like use the weekends and stuff. But that's crazy. Like this girl that I met over the summer came from Australia. She goes, yeah, I have 4 weeks off, 4 weeks paid time off. A month you can go and like obviously she didn't travel like during the year, obviously, to make her able to do all these trips, but you're playing. And then she's like, oh, and I'm taking a couple extra weeks off to travel to Europe with my friends, but those are unpaid, but I don't really care. And I go, your boss is okay with that? And she's like, yeah, I don't care. Get me there. I think I just need to live. I think I need to do this. Like, here's my thought process. I find joy in this thought process. There's like an opportunity that I applied for, and I would be so grateful to have this opportunity. Like if I got it, I would simply do it. Truthfully, I would. But the opportunity of teaching abroad, maybe I'm just so giddy about it because I just want to be back in Europe and like enjoy that part of my life. And like, I know it would be temporary, so there's not too much stress on it. But the idea of the opportunity that I applied for, I think the reason I'm not speaking about it is because it's like, if it does actually happen, like I'd be so ecstatic and like grateful that I even got an interview and just like all that jazz. So I think that part would be like, I actually need to take seriously, because like that's like the next step into my life. And like I actually need to like focus on it and like show people that I like can do multiple things, which is journalism, obviously, but we'll catch the vibes. You know, the importance of being in the now is something I've been heavily trying to work on. I've been really trying to, especially because once you find the acceptance of where you are, the opportunities just like start showing up. And I cannot stress that enough. Once you're okay with being where you're at, the future will unfold. And I think I need to get that in my thick skull. Once you are okay with where you're at, everything will open up for you. Let's talk about it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very much trying to speak this into existence. Obviously, your 20s are not linear. You're not going to have your life figured out. Believe me, no one does. And I understand that. This is simply for me to remember that it is super easy for me to get into my head and overthink every possible outcome of what can go wrong. Like if I was in the movie Inside Out, shoddy anxiety would be running my brain. She'd be running my brain. But I have been trying to become delusional, use a little happiness in that sense. And that's where the 3Ds came. If you saw my other video, that's what I brought up was the 3Ds: delusion, detachment, diva. Diva is that confidence that carries you through life. Detachment is if it doesn't serve you, don't continue to follow it. Detach yourself from situations you can't control. If you can't fix it in 30 seconds, you can't fix it. And delusion. Simply in this lifetime, we have to be delusional. If I think I'm a famous podcaster, I will be delusional and let that life become into fruition, right? Is that the right word? I don't know. See what I'm saying about building my vocabulary? Arizona education didn't do shit. Anyways, for example, I think I'm just being hard on myself because when my day doesn't go as expected, I am simply so frustrated that I just can't get up and do simple tasks. When I wake up late, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so pissed. You woke up. Let's get going. Let's get into it. Let's get started. So, with that being said, I just want you all to take this episode kind of into... Basically, I want you to take this episode with grace. I want you all to come back to this when you ever need this. I want you all to understand that life is a privilege. We get to live it. We get to live the life that we were given. And if we have opportunities, that's a privilege. If we're able to miss, that's a privilege. If we're able to, maybe I'm just being delusional but if we're able to become stressed from so many opportunities coming our way, that's a privilege. It's okay to feel anxious about your future. That means there is so much that can happen for you. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this so other people can find this podcast. And with that being said, have a great day, and don't forget to go with the waves.